we spoke earlier about being an athlete. It kind of goes back to that. You're on a swimming team, or you're in football, and you see the other players, and you're like, I just have to be the best. This is it. It's something that I can't control. You can't control. Like we don't choose. This is, it's kind of like why I started doing music. I don't think I really chose it. Like it's just something that burns in you, and you just know it. So when I see you, taking calls like in the middle of, running from this place to the other, SF, Israel, freaking all around the world, like, dude, I'm in Saudi Arabia. I'm in this, like, in the middle of like weird places. Not saying it's weird, but it's cool. But you're the only one who could do it. We're here today, Forbes, Meyer, and Tamir Grinberg. Before we start, it's really a pleasure doing this with you. You are such a talented, special, skillful person, but beyond all, you're just one of my best friends and a great human and a great dude. Originally from South Africa, I know you have a history of playing football. You moved to Amsterdam early years to play at
Ajax.
Ajax, and then you decided to move to Israel. You decided to move to Israel, not the U.S., not Europe. Decided to move here, and fast forward, you're one of the youngest partners in Sequoia. You're leading big investments in founders, companies, very exciting things that are happening right now. And I think you have a lot of insight and a lot of knowledge we can talk about today, and a lot of interesting things we can.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the warm intro. I'll reciprocate. But I've known Tamir for a couple of years, and I think the kind of one way I describe Tamir is kind of like a music kind of prodigy, and he's done so much from a young age, from like 15 onwards. The guy's been performing, doing art, doing music, and 21 he moved to LA to pursue his career in music, and unfortunately COVID hit, and so decided to come back to Israel. He was kind of pulled into this show in Israel called The Next Star, and ended up winning it, which is kind of insane. It's a pretty big deal from what I can tell, and kind of since then has gone on and done some really cool things with Maroon 5, with Prada, and today is I'd say like guys setting out 10,000 plus stadium seats, and is kind of spending a lot more time in the US, has very grand ambitions, and I'm excited for what he's going to do. So. And we'll talk about the journey and 100%. the plans ahead.
So maybe we can start with telling us a little bit about how did you end up being a partner in Sequoia? How did that happen? What led to what?
Sure. So I'll keep it as brief as possible, but kind of like I grew up in South Africa, Jewish parents, big Zionist parents. I basically grew up loving Israel. My grandmother has an unbelievable kind of, like many of us, Holocaust kind of survival story. And so Israel was always like a very important topic growing up. I didn't expect to move to Israel this early. But as you mentioned, I was pretty good at football. And so was pulled to go play in Holland at Ajax Amsterdam, and ended up spending a couple of years there from like 14 till 17. And
that's really early.
Yeah, it's early. It's
moving
definitely
out of
early.
the house.
Yeah. I went by myself, which was, I mean, similar to you going to LA, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of a big jump, but it was a deep passion of mine. I'd been, obsessing over being a professional athlete from a very young age. Yeah. But I think what I will say is, at the same time when I got there, I was kind of homeschooled, and so I could study whatever I wanted and had a lot of free time. And so I started spending a lot of time programming, and building a bunch of really random algo trading bots, made a bunch of money, lost a bunch of money. And so I always kind of had these, like worn these two hats since a pretty young age of being both like very obsessed with technology, but also just like being very competitive and wanting to be the best in you know, as an athlete, which my father was very into, me and my brother being great athletes. We played a lot of tennis growing up as well.
He's a great guy as well.
He's a great guy. You have met him. He's a great guy. Very South African.
Yep.
So I think like, you know, I'd say the next part of the story is the plan was to go to the US to go study there, and that was all in motion. But I almost made kind of like an unorthodox move to Israel. And I mean, this sounds crazy, but I read a book called Startup Nation, which today, you know, everyone, it's kind of like, you know, the best example of kind of capturing what was happening in Israel, you know, more than a decade ago on the startup front. And but that was a very profound book for me as someone who didn't know much about the tech ecosystem in Israel and the economy. But that was like one thing. My brother ended up moving here.
Yeah.
And so a whole bunch of things came together and decided that it just felt like the right thing, just intuitively. And so I ended up moving here. Fast forward, you know, I studied math and CS, and, you know, did a lot of cool company building like projects on the side. But I ended up joining Team 8, which was founded by this incredible guy, Nadav Zafrir, who was the head of 8200. And so anyway, that kind of was my, like, you know, foray into tech in Israel. And it's been a couple of years, been having fun, invested in some really cool companies. And but that's kind of the full thing. And I'm happy to, you know, share more about Sequoia and what it is we look for and kind of the plans ahead. But maybe I'll shoot the question back to you, which is, you know, tell us a bit about kind of your story and where did it all begin, and how did you get to, you know, this position? Why music as well? Like, I think you could have done a lot of things. We've spoken about this, but why music?
Well, it's a good question. I think it begins with the fact that I never thought I was going to be a musician, because I love a lot of things, and I think I could be good at many things. I started studying art in school, like painting, sculpturing, video, photography. So that was really like my passion from an early age. So music was like, I knew I could sing, and I had that feeling, and I guess I was musical, but it wasn't like, that's what I'm going to do. So I just started playing piano and sing with friends. It was like the most, like, you know, not a decision, it wasn't any of that. It was like pure joy and fun of doing it. And as it evolved, I realized, the moment that I realized was like, I could do many things, but if I had to choose one thing, it was the only thing I could do. I mean, I could do other things, but I couldn't live with myself doing other things. So music became the thing that just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I realized this is the thing for me. And yeah, like you said, early on, I formed a band at 15. I knew nothing about music. I was like, I knew nothing. And the first thing I do is like, let's build an 8-piece band, horns and guitar and all that stuff. And I have no idea. I'm like clueless. I know to play piano and sing a little bit, but I'm like, I know nothing. So I've learned most of what I know through my friends. I've had teachers, who, you know, for piano and stuff, but the actual performing, the songwriting, the musicianship, I've learned from my friends, basically.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of the most interesting things about Tamir, and it's probably worth touching on this, is like there are very few artists that are full stack. They do everything from writing their own music to literally like playing instruments. You know, I think you play 4 or 5 instruments or something like that. And 4,000. Then 4,000 instruments. sorry. Yeah. You and all your AIs. And then, you know, basically the full thing. And designing your own, you know, like basically designing your own clothes, designing your, you know, production, everything. So like, why is that? Like, why, like, how did that come about?
It's tough because it's, first of all, I'm a control freak. So
well, that answers it. There we go.
Yeah. No, but the truth is, first of all, I love it. I love it. I mean, for me, everything is art. Music is art is art, tech is art. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
So I also see a world where, if I wasn't a musician, I'd probably work on a company or work in, I don't know, something else. And it would be the same thing. It would be like being creative, digging deeper into ideas and trying to make different things.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
So what basically led you to getting to Israel? How did you start? How did that happen?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the story, it kind of goes way back. My grandmother moved from Poland to South Africa post the war, has an incredible story. And so she instilled in me and my brother this deep love and understanding of the importance of Israel and what that meant. And so that was kind of one very fundamental piece in my life growing up. The other is I was, as you mentioned, like, I played football growing up, soccer, and so I was kind of pulled to go to Amsterdam to play there. And
when was that?
This is when I was 14.
That's very young.
Yeah, it was really
young.
pretty young. But kind of tough, very tough experience. I was there for 3 years, playing kind of like traveling Europe, playing kind of professionally, and honestly loved it. Like, it was an unbelievable experience. You really learn about yourself when you're alone and you're competing at the highest level.
Especially doing like being an athlete at such a young age. I can, I have the same thing with swimming.
Yeah.
I didn't move to another place, but swimming twice a day, competing.
Yeah.
It builds something in you that you don't really have anywhere else.
Totally. And look, Ajax is an intense place. Like, one of the best academies in the world. And so you're training twice a day, 5 days a week, and then 6 day a week is match day, which is a big deal.
Crazy.
So you basically have Sunday to rest. And people on the team still train on Sunday. So it's like, it's
But this is where you learn how to work hard.
Exactly.
How to get things done. That's
100%.
That's it.
100%. And then the thing I'll add is I kind of had this, I would say, like, dual passion of mine from a young age where, especially when I moved to Amsterdam, I had a lot of free time. Yeah. And so I got really into programming, which is kind of ironic. I don't think most soccer players love programming. And at least in my team at the time. Yeah. And so I always kind of had these dual passions. And, so kind of like, long story short, at 17, I had to make a call. I finished school a little early and was, do I want to pursue academia? Do I want to kind of pursue football? And kind of made a decision, frankly, that the right thing for me was probably to go hard into like academia and business eventually, as a good Jewish guy, good Jewish boy. And so kind of did that and was supposed to go study in the US. Everything was kind of booked and ready to go. A couple, schools there. And I ended up
moved here.
Yeah, but I moved to Israel. Honestly, like I kind of always thought I would move to Israel, but I didn't think then. But a few things happened. My brother ended up moving here, who's a few years older than me.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. He's a real legend. And I also read this book, Startup Nation, which is kind of funny to say now. Like, I've met the authors; they're legendary guys, and that kind of opened my mind, up into the importance of technology, especially in Israel, in a country with very few natural resources, and I'd love technology. So just everything started really adding up.
And it made sense.
Yeah, and it made sense. And then the final thing I'll say is, look, I think, as like a teenager, like young Jewish guy growing up in Europe a decade ago, I mean, it's not ideal for a lot of, it's tough. You just learn a lot about the reality of Europe and the reality of the world. And that was also pretty formative. Maybe we can touch on some of that later. But so moved here, studied math and CS, worked at Teammate for a little bit with some great people, learning about the ecosystem, and been at Sequoia for a couple of years now, and having a lot of fun. So we can talk about that. But I guess maybe I'll pass back to you. You could have done a lot of things. Why music?
There was a point in my life where I realized that music was the only thing I can do. not because it's the only thing I can do. It's the only thing I had to do it.
Yeah.
It's like not a question of like,
just like intuition or
no, it's just like I had to do it.
Yeah.
Like I have to eat.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I love
You
that.
know, that's it. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, I think, you know, I've studied physics in school, art. I came from an art background. I wasn't even doing music. I never thought I was going to do music. And then I knew I could sing. I started this band. I was like in high school.
Yeah.
First year of high school. I didn't know shit about what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna start a band. Eight musicians, horns, guitars. I knew nothing about music.
Yeah.
I could play piano and sing a little bit, but
Yeah.
I just went for it. And then it worked out because I've learned all I know from my friends in the band, who are still good friends of mine today, and some of them I still play with. And yeah, fast forward, I made that decision. I was going back and forth between Tel Aviv and New York, and I'll never forget the moment. I was like, all right, I started this as like just fun and joy, but I have to like, this is it. This is the moment. Like I've been doing it seriously. I've been touring all over Europe. I've been doing so much. I'm like I don't want to say I'm a serious guy, but I if I do something, I do it all the way.
Yeah, totally.
So at that point, I think I was like 17 or something. I was like, all right, I think this is it. Like I could go and study physics. I can go and do all these things, art. I thought maybe one day I'd be like a architect or something like that. But I was like, no, this is my calling.
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's deeper. It's inside.
Yeah. And were you always just naturally good at picking up instruments because you play so many?
I don't know. I feel like, listen, I remember the first time I started playing piano pretty late.
Yeah.
Like all my friends started like 6 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started at 12, which is super late for us because I went to an art school.
Yeah.
I was like,
you were painting
drawing.
at 4. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was drawing vegetables. And
as one does. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just started piano, and I never thought I could play it, and then it just came out, and then guitar, and then drums, and then bass, and then all these things.
Yeah.
And you just have to, I don't know, it's something inside of you.
Yeah.
And I really fell in love with music, which was, you know, early on. My mom got me this show, the Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival. I just fell in love with blues.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Unbelievable. And maybe I think for those listening, and even for myself, like one of the most, I guess, like the black box almost, or like the kind of unknown in music creation is like the process. Like we always hear the output of like Tamir's great new songs and go to concerts and enjoy music, but what is the creative process like for you? And I also would love to touch on like how you think it's changing, you know, today with AI and a whole bunch of, like how does that happen?
So, well, the truth is there isn't one way, at least for me. Like I could start with lyrics, a word even. I could start with a drum beat, piano, guitar, making a beat on the computer. Just like I even sometimes write songs while I'm like walking, and I imagine the chords and I imagine some of the stuff, and I just record it on my phone. And then later, like imagination is a really powerful thing. It's sometimes when you go to the piano, you go to the usual stuff, or like you're used to play in like one period of time, you're used to play certain things.
Yes.
And in your mind, you're like totally free. So I feel like that's really important.
But what are your days? What do your days look like? Like, do you wake up and say like now's creative time, or it's really just comes naturally? It could
honestly,
be in the shower, it could be walking.
As you know, and I see you, we've been like going on hikes almost like every week.
Yeah.
And you've been like taking calls in the middle of the fucking like by the ocean. You're like, yeah, let's do this. You know, you're working all the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the same with music.
Yeah.
I could just stop right now and record an idea.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing. So it's the blessing and the curse. It's like you're working all the time. Like,
yes.
If you're not doing it, if you don't care about it as much, and then you shouldn't do it, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's an obsession, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, to create. To be the best, to achieve like things that only exist in your imagination.
Yeah,
I feel like that's something we share.
And how much and then we can move on from this, but I think it's really interesting. How much would you say of like the creative process is a function of just exposing yourself to a lot of other people and their ideas, almost like proxy, kind of like proxy thinking, or like hearing certain, other music, and how much of it is, and maybe it's very hard to attribute, but how much of it is just like very natural, just like, totally independent, you yourself. Like if you lived in a forest for 100 years and like didn't see anyone or hear anything.
Well, I have done that a little bit. I've lived in LA on like a top of the hill by myself for almost 2 years. Yeah. I basically had like, I've only seen like coyotes around me. I was like a hermit. It was insane. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But I feel like answering the question, I don't know if there's like a percentage, but I feel like in a way there's nothing original. Something always comes from something in a way, but the new things we see are almost such mixes that we don't expect.
Interesting.
I think it's a big saying to say maybe only God creates. We kind of like we mix what we have.
I love that.
Maybe a modest thing to say, but it's also very, very hard. It's very, very hard. And sometimes you hear something that sounds totally new. But then you find out, oh, this is actually this is this plus this plus this plus this, and somehow nobody's ever thought about this mix.
Man, I love that. Only God creates. I think we just found your next title for the next big hit. Anyway, that's
and a picture of me on the cover.
Exactly.
Naked.
Yeah. Exactly.
But let's go back to tech. So we'll touch on AI and tech soon, but I'm curious to hear about like where is AI right now? How is it affecting the economy, the ecosystem here in the world? How are you seeing this?
Look, I'd kind of summarize where we are in like 3 high-level data points. The first one is kind of token usage, which is kind of the defining usage metric of AI, of inference, how much people are using AI, is up 13x in a year, which is insane. And most of that is coming from, a small set of intelligence providers, model providers. These are, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, maybe like XAI to a degree. And, those companies, as a result of this usage growth, are literally growing in kind of like at an unprecedented scale. So like Anthropic would go like 0 to 1 billion in a year. And then, last year or 2 years ago, or last year, 1 to 10 billion. They're already way past that. We're very happy investors in the company. Anthropic, OpenAI, very, surpassed 20 billion in revenue. So these numbers are insane, like really insane and totally unprecedented. And so like that is just all new. Like that's all the past year to 2.
Crazy.
And this is like post kind of ChatGPT moment. There've been kind of multiple ChatGPT moments across knowledge work, coding. All these things are like really materializing. So it's very exciting. I'd say the second point is you basically have at the same time while that's happening, value capture and like the way investors and people buying software, like the way they think about AI and the way they think about their jobs, is fundamentally changing. And so you see crazy things like the public stock market literally dropping 35 to 40% for public SaaS companies, which is also unprecedented, like totally insane. And we're seeing this like funny kind of cycle where like one of these labs, take Anthropic, for example, they literally publish some kind of preview or like an article that says we're going to release, a model that is proficient in cybersecurity. And then literally yesterday you have this happen, like literally yesterday or 2 days ago, and you'll have, the largest cybersecurity companies that are publicly traded drop 20%, 30%.
Insane.
And so we're kind of living in these are just unprecedented times. And then the last data point is just looking forward a little bit. The CapEx, which is the capital expenditures to, the infrastructure build out that's happening to build these kind of AI data centers, these kind of AI factories is just skyrocketing. So it's, the numbers for this year will be about $660 billion of like net new capital expenditures from, a very small set of hyperscalers. And so what that means is like, we're just at the beginning. Like in theory, kind of, if you look at all these numbers, we're at the beginning of disruption, destruction, massive build out of AI data centers and just this exponential of capabilities. We're very much in the early innings of that. So that's kind of like a very high level snapshot of some crazy things happening. I'm happy to kind of go into more detail depending on what you're interested in. But that is, I would say, like a quick snapshot of where we are. And I think it is both very concerning for incumbents. I think if you're an existing large software vendor, I think you have a lot to worry about. I think that if you are a 2-person team here in Israel or in San Francisco or wherever, and you want to go build a new company, I think it's an extremely exciting time. And so there's this very stark contrast, but kind of like clouding all of this is this big question around kind of, what role do the frontier labs play in let's say the question was like, what role do the labs play in value capture on the application level? I'd say 2 is like, what happens to like the value of software over time, and like what does that mean for the actual like market opportunity to go and attack, like the actual literal like revenue TAM that you can go and sell into. And then the third question is like, well, what does this mean for governments and for countries? So you tell me what you think is interesting.
I feel like what concerns me the most, AI is all over. I mean, it's in schools. I mean, music, literally everything. Like we all use it. It's one of these things like the phone, like electricity, where you go, how did we exist before? Yeah. You're not sure what was like. I always think about a haircut. Yeah. Sometimes you see someone with a new haircut, you forget how he looked before. Yeah. It's the same. It's the same thing. Think about it. Yeah. And it affects everything. So when something so new and so big comes so fast, it's dangerous. Yeah. It can be incredible. It can be it can destroy things. Yeah. It applies to countries. It applies to companies that exist. It applies to a whole set of new companies that will emerge. Yeah.
I think a good mental model to think about this is because I agree with you, like the force multiplier of what AI can do to the upside and downside is extreme. But I think like it's not the first time where humanity there's like a huge unlock or a huge paradigm shift. Let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Electricity started as a product for the rich. It wasn't like one day everyone had electricity. It started with parts. It grew. This is different.
Well, I think it's similar in a sense. I mean, I'll tell you why I think it's similar and dissimilar. What I will say just generally though, the point is there have been multiple paradigm shifts in technology, like the Industrial Revolution, or the invention of electricity, for example, the invention of the mobile phone, the invention of compute, and anyway, there's kind of like this long tail. Even before that, you could go way back, and there's different scales on which these things drive impact. But what they all have in common, usually, the cycle they follow comes out like massive. People are fearful, just for example, there's this canonical joke like when people first saw a car, it was like, oh, look at that thing. Like, that's such a waste. What is that thing going to be used for? Because you barely had roads. And so horses were like also pretty efficient in like how they move. And, fast forward, like who could have imagined a world with highways and, like how we would, we could just travel and take flight. I mean, like who would have imagined in like the 1800s that we'd be flying around the world and what that would mean for efficiency and productivity and global trade. And so I think the point is that it's very hard to actually anticipate and see the upside of what technology can do, and what these kind of major like step function changes can do for society. This and people are very fearful, and so like take like the first or even second industrial revolution. The idea, if you go back to like the 1800s, like large majority of the world worked in agriculture. Like literally almost everyone worked in agriculture. Everyone was literally on a farm. I mean, even in Israel, go back to like the early days, everyone was just basically farming. On all the kibbutzim. And, Industrial Revolution fundamentally changed that, like the jobs that people had and where like, I'd say like where value could be captured fundamentally changed. And so people's jobs like fundamentally changed and people lost jobs as a result. But I think what continue like the kind of trend is like there's disruption, a little bit of chaos, unclear what people do, and then it turns out we could just apply people to other things. And so now people work in, you have like retail, like who would the idea of like the people selling things at stores or like e-commerce. And anyway, I could give a million examples, but we always tend to find things to do as humans. And so my prediction with AI is, I think like a lot of the way we think about work today is fundamentally changing 100%. To the extreme. And I do think there is going to be, I think the way we think about employment is fundamentally going to change. And I think there will be like actual disruption. And I think there is an element of fear of what that actually means. Yeah. But I'm pretty optimistic that we'll figure it out because that's just always, these things tend to kind of like fall into place. So, yeah.
I think, AI could be looked as a dangerous power, but I could say from my perspective, I've been using AI in music and it's been life-changing. Mm-hmm. I mean, in a way, but also in a way, it doesn't change anything. It's been a great tool. It's been, just the other day, I went into this app which lets you separate existing songs. Yeah. And basically, I put a song that I really love, and I've heard for the first time this guitar part that I've never heard. Yeah. And I've heard this song 1 billion times. Yeah. And it was so exciting. And I took this part and I took another part into my song, and I try to figure out, so what's this sound? Like, how do they make this sound? How do I copy it? There are also all these like plugins and these softwares where you can like copy the frequencies, and you can do all sorts of things that you couldn't do in the past. Yeah. So that's very, very exciting in terms of like the research. Basically, when you're in music, you're in research. So yes. So it's just very, very exciting tools. Yeah. And
I think I think AI in the same way, I think developers are like 10x developer becomes 100x developer, and kind of the average 1x developer is, now 10x. So I think like those with super skills are going to be amplified. Yeah. It in some sense, it's a super skill for those that adopt and kind of really learn how to adjust their creative processes or their kind of craft. Embed AI into that. And it just literally what you just said is one example. And so like, I do think like that's actually a very important point, because when you think about the future of like potential job loss, or what do you tell your kid, like how do you think about raising a kid in a world where like literal like knowledge work is totally going to be commoditized? It already almost is. Yeah. And that's insane. Like every accountant, every lawyer is almost fully commoditized. Yeah. And I think that's actually kind of crazy. And I don't think anyone anticipated things to move that quickly, but we're at that point already. Yeah. This is not even some future like prediction. Like we are at a point now where AI is basically better than almost every human at almost every task. And so that's not exactly the definition of AGI, but it's pretty close. And I think the definitions don't really matter. Like I think just objectively, that means that economies need to evolve, and that changes policy. It changes, literally has national security implications, which happy to talk about, but some pretty extreme national security implications. And then the final thing I'll say just on this point, because I think it's really important, is, if you look at other technology paradigms, like what usually happens is you end up having like you end up having kind of these paradigms that end up unlocking a whole bunch of value. And people's intuition is usually that when the cost of something drops to very low, kind of the unit cost of something drops very low. Like usually what happens is, there's only finite resources, and so you would assume there's like limited demand, or like basically there'll be less demand for something. because it's it's fundamentally it's like the unit cost is fundamentally cheaper. It's like Jevons paradox is actually the kind of like term to describe this thing. But what actually happens is the opposite. You actually have like a significant increase in demand, and the same thing is true for take like electricity. The cost of electricity is down basically like 10x or probably more over the past 100 years, but there's way more electricity everywhere now. The same applies with like the cloud. Like the cloud basically commoditized infrastructure for everyone, right? Before you had to build up your own data centers, and there's way more built. And this literally just you could basically make the same analogy with like almost any technology. And I think AI is no different in that sense. I think like as AI gets cheaper and more efficient, we're just going to see an explosion, kind of Cambrian like explosion of demand. And so that's very exciting. So yeah. So I think what would be interesting for most people listening is like, where are you today? How would you describe that professionally? And also, what are your ambitions going forward?
So like we said, I moved back here during COVID. I did the show. It was really not what I expected, and it blew up. And for the last, I think, 4 years, I've been performing here at a crazy pace. It's been insane. Honestly, I never really expected. I really thought I was gonna make it big in the US or in Europe and then come back here. I never thought it was gonna be the other way around. Which is really big for me because this is my home. You know, this is really my home. And so yeah, the last 4 years were incredible. I've been blessed to play huge venues in front of a lot of people, sing my songs, having people singing my songs, collaborate with a lot of cool people, a lot of cool brands. It's been a real journey. But I feel like going back to the US, because of COVID, my career there kind of like was cut. You know, it was like right in the middle. I was about to record an album. I had all the things ready. Everything was ready. The management, the agencies, the shows, the album, and it was all like, the world stopped.
Yeah.
So for me, coming back here was a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. And this is my home, but I feel like I'm ready to kind of embark on this new old mission to get back to the US, get back to Europe, get back to performing all around the world, and basically sounding my voice. And this is kind of like how I felt before going on the show. I was like, I need to sound my voice. I need people to hear my voice. And I feel the same thing right now on a broader scale.
I think one of the things people probably don't know about this guy, Tamir, is just his, like, how ambitious he is, like the degree to which he wants to be the best, and like how hard he's willing to go.
I would say the same.
But it's true. Like I think in every profession there are, like those that are the best, and they're the best because they're extremely talented, but they also they're the best professionals. They're the best professionals. They just are willing to do more than anyone else. And
I think it goes back to, we spoke earlier about being an athlete. It kind of goes back to that. You're on a swimming team, or you're in football, and you see the other players, and you're like, I just have to be the best. It's something that I can't control. You can't control. Like, we don't choose. This is, it's kind of like why I started doing music. I don't think I really chose it. Like, it's just something that burns in you, and you just know it. So when I see you, taking calls like in the middle of, running from this place to the other, SF, Israel, freaking all around the world, like, dude, I'm in Saudi Arabia, and it's like in the middle of like weird places. Not saying it's weird, but it's cool. But you're the only one who could do it. Just like run around, make everything happen. We spoke last night at like 2 a.m. and this morning at 7, so this is how it works.
Yeah. Totally.
And we all have teams. We have amazing people around us. But I think for us to really succeed, we have to work the hardest, and we have to show that we're leading this thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Sequoia is like, it's huge brand. History goes back to, if I'm not mistaken, 70s, if not 60s. Investing in YouTube and Airbnb in all these huge companies that are now like the majors in our world. Basically the most legendary place. And you're one of the youngest partners. Give us a bit of insight. Give us a little bit about what you're looking in a founder, in a company. What's it like?
Sure. So first of all, Sequoia is an incredible place. One of these very unique places that somehow is solving for both extreme performance, but also teamwork and kind of like a team culture. That for me is just extremely rare, and like I haven't come across. And I think that really underpins Sequoia, by the way. It's just like relentlessness to be the best. Every year is the Champions League final, and you have to win.
Yeah.
But also, hey, like we support our team, and we help each other make good investments. We help each other do company building, and we're like really are there for each other. So I think that's like a very special combo. I'll start by saying that. I think in terms of Sequoia and Sequoia doing investing in Israel, we actually have like a very rich history of investing in Israel from the early 2000s. There was actually like Sequoia Israel. There were a set of partners, like really awesome, very successful guys, including like Gili Ranan, who ended up starting CyberStarts, which Sequoia kind of seeded and are very, very good partners to them and others going forward. All the way, and so they invested in companies like Mellanox, Armis, and a whole set of what became very, very successful companies. So I think like the Sequoia footprint has been around for some time, kind of way before me. I think in the past couple of years, like in particular past 5 years, I think we have seen kind of an inflection point in the ecosystem where there have just been these really large companies emerge, many of which we've partnered with, companies like Wiz and Sierra and Island, and even a newer batch like Eon and Descartes and Keller, and kind of this, the list goes on of companies. And what they all have in common is, I would say two things. Like one, just the scale of ambition. These guys just want to build in Israel. They just want to build generational companies, and they don't want to sell early, and they want to build, 30, 40, 50, $100 billion companies. And it's very real.
So what do you think makes them special? Because, and there's a book you recommended me to read called Power Law.
Yeah.
And they talk about how there's a big difference between Boston and California, where in California it was just a lot easier to let companies grow. In Boston it was slow. It was all these like old school businessmen, and everything took a long time. And for you to close a deal, it took like 6 months.
Yeah.
Where in California it was like, I got you. I believe in you. Let's go.
Yeah.
And what makes Israel this place right now?
Well, look, I think Israeli culture is the almost perfect culture for company building, for startups, because it's a risk-taking culture.
Yeah.
Risk is rewarded. In most countries, in most continents, risk is not rewarded.
Right.
If you fail, like you're banned from your family, or you're like you've embarrassed your family, or you can't recover. Like you're like a failure. Like almost it's like you're kind of almost like stamped as and so like I think the unique aspect of Israel is actually very much a cultural aspect of just people like taking risk, and it's risk is rewarded.
Yeah.
And failure is not necessarily, and failure is also rewarded in a sense.
Yeah.
And because people reward effort.
Yeah.
And trying. And you could go back, that's probably some kind of like rooted in I would say like Israeli culture on many levels. And so like that's kind of one very fundamental thing. Wow. I think the other thing is you have the army, which is an incredible organizer of talent. You know, there are very few systems in the world. Like in the US, there's the university system where, you know, usually the best kids get into the best universities. If you're top in your math class at Harvard, you're probably a very smart guy globally, and you're probably going to be good at going out and, you know, doing technical work. I think Israel's like that on steroids. I think the army kind of does an incredible job at identifying extremely talented people through various programs and tests that they do. And then they've kind of filter them into these specialized programs inside of 8200, and not just the 8200, but, you know, even those that go into like elite combat units. So like meritocracy is fundamental to everything from the age of 16 in this country, and like performance wins, merit wins. And so like you have that, which is this order of talent. And so people leave the army, everyone kind of knows who the best guy in this subunit was and who the best person, you know, in that unit was. And so as what happens as a result of that is you have one of the most powerful ingredients to a successful startup ecosystem, which is the ability to concentrate talent.
Yeah.
And, you know, my colleague, Sean McGuire, is like an absolute legend. I think you've met him.
He's a great guy.
Like he spends a lot of time he articulates this better than I can. But if you go back to Google, or like take any amazing company at its time, VMware, like, you know, Amazon, like all you know, Facebook's even a more recent kind of example. All these companies and these founders, what they have in common is they're all exceptional founders, CEOs, and they operate in these unique ecosystems where like Zuck at Harvard was like one of the few startups, you know, at the time, or Google early on, like everyone just knew Larry and Sergey were better than everyone. And so they're just able to concentrate the strongest engineering talent.
Yeah. And
honestly, Israel, so kind of going backwards, like Israel has that in like pretty extreme ways. And you see this with Wiz, you know, when the Wiz guys sold the company, they go back for the second time, and immediately they have, you know, 20 of the strongest people joining them. And more recently with like Eon, company I work very closely with, you know, these guys sold a company to Amazon, built out a large multi-billion-dollar, you know, revenue business, and are building a cloud storage platform. And they've gone and concentrated the best storage people and compute people in the country, because everyone knows that like Ophir Ehrlich, you know, is like the best, you know, founder in the country,
right?
Maybe in the world for this business. And so I think the talent concentration thing is another huge component. And then, look, finally, I kind of alluded to this, but when you have a company like Wiz that gets acquired for $32 billion, the impact is obviously awesome for like the economy. You know, it's like a multi-billion-dollar like tax benefit, and you know, for the country. But the real value is the intangible value, which is how it changes people's ambition. Yeah. In the same way that you go from being, I'm like going to crush it in Israel, be like the first real like English only kind of like English singing artist in the country, like go dominate this whole field. And then it's like, well, you know, I can also go do that. Like you look at people in the US, you're like, well, I can do it. Yeah. You know, I can be better than them. Like I know those guys. I spent time in LA. I think there's the same concept here. It's like people look at Wiz and they have extreme respect for the founders because they are unbelievable founders. Like Asaf and Kostika and all they're just as good as it gets. But you know, people are confident in Israel and they say, well, if they can do it, if they can do it, I can do it. I think it's very hard to do what Wiz did, but I think people really believe that they can go for it. Yeah. So
there's a really interesting thing to this place where we feel like we're in the middle of the world. Like we're in the center of the world. Like, which is like not true. Like, you know, New York's the center, and London's the center.
Geographically, we're almost in the center of the world.
That is true. No, but I'm saying like people act as if here is the shit. This is it, which is amazing because it eventually creates the shit.
Yeah, I think in tech, I would say,
and I'm saying in everything, not specifically only in tech.
But I would go as far as saying in tech specifically, I think Israel's on par with the best tech ecosystem in the world in the Bay Area, in San Francisco. I really think that. I don't think there's anything close to those two, to the ecosystem here in Israel and that in California. There's, I think most people would agree with that now. No, 100%. And these things fluctuate, but I'm very bullish.
And I agree also with the fact that it's just something about this culture. it's something about people here are going for it.
Yeah.
And they like in any field.
But like the question is always, and I should have maybe mentioned this, but what choice do we have? You know,
listen, there is a choice. I don't know. You go to places around the world. Maybe they don't have. They're not in a war zone. They're not in like, you know, that's a whole different subject, but which I think affects everything basically. But most places that people just live and they're cool with just like being cool.
Yes.
Here everyone is like crazy about like just making things and being like and changing
but
stuff.
I do think it's existential. Like I do think that without a strong economy, you can't support the IDF, you know, you can't support the government, which can't support defense forces.
Yeah, definitely. It's
a total circle, and the economy is the centerpiece of every civilization. And I think for us in our kind of mini civilization here, you know, Israel's GDP is 550, you know, billion roughly. It was a quarter of that not long ago, and a tenth of that not long ago. I think it will be $1 trillion. I think we'll have $1 trillion economy if things go right for us, and we have a lot to get right over the next decade, literally. And I think it's existential. Like I think 20% of the GDP in the country is tech. 50% of total exports, both hardware, software, is tech. You know, I think it's like 18% or something like that of the workforce. You know, before AI kind of disrupts us all and takes our jobs.
But become artists.
Exactly, we'll become So I think like almost like part of not having a choice. There's no oil. There's a bit of natural gas, which is cool, but that's kind of new and that's not sustainable. That's exactly what you're referring to. Yeah, the fuel is there. We have no choice.
So in one sentence, what's the next goal? What's the biggest next goal?
For me personally, I think the goal is to partner with founders that are going to build the next set of generational companies out of this country and in the US as well. And I'll define that by, you know, $100 billion plus valued company. And I think the real goal is like to partner with, you know, with a company that it becomes $1 trillion company. And I think if we could do that from Israel, it would be incredible. And Sequoia has done that multiple times, you know, with Google and Apple, and NVIDIA. You know, people don't know, but Sequoia were the first investors in NVIDIA and Google and Apple, and so the bar is high. And I think if there was one place in the world to kind of be the ultimate vessel for myself to kind of, or in some sense like the canvas, you know, if we want to be artsy, for me to paint, Sequoia is like the ultimate canvas, and the culture is like perfect for people that are just hungry and want to go do things. And
amazing.
But yes, the goal is to build generational companies. And you, incredible. What's the goal?
The goal is to sound my voice all around the world, to show people what I have to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think by that also I think, you know, during the war, I put a song out called "Bring You Home."
Yeah, it's an incredible song.
Bringing back the hostages, and it really made a lot of noise abroad. I'll never forget our friend Max August.
Yeah.
He called me and he said, "Listen, this is the first time I'm hearing a song during this whole time, which I really understand, and I could really get the feeling of like what's going on. How is it like, you know." Because this was after meeting some of the families of the hostages.
Yes.
So it really, you know...
Incredible song.
Yeah, it did something. So I feel like also, you know, you can't really separate what's happening from, you know, being an artist, which is tough in these times.
Yeah.
But I think, especially nowadays, it's really important to do this because...
Super important.
It's the reminder that this place has... talent, like it has talent in tech, and it has music and art and love and peace. It's not only just other stuff.
I think maybe we'll end on this, but I think you have a huge responsibility, a lot of weight on your shoulders to represent us and, you know, the country and in the US and globally. And I think you're going to do it, man. I think it's truly important. Like actually, like you succeeding is really important.
I'm not trying to do. I'm just saying that I'm trying to present myself. But eventually, but I think as a side effect, people will realize that this place which we love. I was born here. I love this place.
Yeah.
They'd maybe show more compassion and really can like connect and see what it's really about.
Yeah.
And get the full scope of it.
Amazing. Well, I think if we could do 100, what's the biggest stadium in Israel? How many people? What's
here? I don't know. Probably like 30,000.
30,000
stadium, or maybe.
So we need to build 100,000.
We did the show in Yarkon is 60,000.
Okay, so we got to do 60,000, or let's say 100,000 people flying in from abroad to come to Israel to listen to you.
Hell yeah!
In the next 2 years, we're on
Amen.
it.
We spoke earlier about your move to Amsterdam, and being 14 must be tough to move to a new place. Did you know the language?
I barely knew the language. I spoke a little bit of Afrikaans, which is,
doesn't help you there.
Very old Dutch, like 500-year-old Dutch. So I could understand a little bit, but I kind of had to learn from scratch.
Wow. And how did that affect the I don't know, knowing the team, the people, living in a new place by yourself? I can relate. We'll speak about this, but
Well, look, I think when you're a young guy, kind of in any new environment, it's overwhelming. It's kind of a light way to put it. I'll give you some funny examples, but so like the language is kind of one example where most people don't speak English at that age, kind of broken English, and so you end up being forced to just kind of learn the language. I think the other aspects are just on the cultural front, like interfaced with people that I'd never interfaced with before. Like a lot of the folks in my team were, like either first or second generation, like immigrants from Syria, Morocco, like Turkey, Afghanistan.
Wow.
Like very literally, there was a kid in my team from Somalia.
Whoa.
So it was interesting, nice little Jewish kid comes from South Africa, in this like walled garden, and you're just in the real world suddenly.
Yeah.
Is very was very intense. And funny, crazy things like, getting into arguments with people and suddenly like people are just like punching each other.
Yeah.
And like, or like having conversations with people, like what do they think about the world, and like what do they think about the countries that have like adopted them. And there was just it was insane, like to be in such an environment at a young age. But like I think the takeaways for me, honestly, is just it's okay for something to be painful.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this, but look, I think everyone goes through like pretty hard moments growing up, and I think for me, Amsterdam was kind of like a very defining moment of just understanding the world, like you jumping into the deep end, into the reality of the world, the reality of the universe, which is, we're very much shielded by growing up, and you kind of have a mental model of how things work and social dynamics and what strength means.
Yeah.
And like the importance of being dominant, and like the importance of working really hard, and like the importance of like, being able to lose something and fight for your position. And like, I just think there's so much of this that you don't learn at school.
Yeah.
And sometimes it results in like pretty brutal lessons learned. But mostly I think it's for the better. So much so that I think like it's important for kids to go through like really painful levels of hardship. Like I have a kid, he's super cute. Like I almost want him to suffer, as crazy as that sounds, but you can't, it's kind of like a necessary evil. But that's maybe my kind of gloomy way of seeing things.
I think you said something, we spoke a couple days ago, and you said something really powerful about being broken and broken people. And I shared my time in LA, where also I moved at 21. I knew the language, but I moved to this, not even a house, just like a room the size of this table, and I basically knew no one.
Yeah.
I was by myself, no friends, no family.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one manager who was an older guy who was already 60 something. And I was by myself 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Just waking up super early, going to sleep super late,
Yeah.
just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing.
Yes.
Writing songs, practicing from day to night.
It's tough.
And it at the end of it, it just broke me.
Yeah.
I was like, I've learned so much in that time.
Yeah.
But
it's painful. It's really painful.
It was painful.
Yeah.
It was very and it's painful every time I write a song. It's not easy. Sometimes you're stuck and you're like,
Yeah.
you have to get it out. It's like
Yeah.
labor.
Yeah.
But
I do think these moments that you're talking about, being alone in LA and basically like having no one around and feeling like it's you against the world, these are like the defining moments. And I don't think it's healthy to go through them every day.
Yeah.
I think you'll lose your mind.
I don't know how I look back and I go, I don't know how I did this.
Yeah.
It's
totally.
like insane. Like
Yeah.
only a madman would do this. Like
Yeah.
by myself for days, just watching like coyotes around me.
Literally
no human for days, just like working, recording.
Yeah. But there's I think the maybe the takeaway from this is, and I'll kind of borrow like a line from Doug Leone, who's like a legendary investor and partner of mine at Sequoia. But all the best kind of outlier people tend to be injured. I mean, he uses the word injured, which is kind of also like a pretty aggressive word, but there's like some level of like total irrational, like an irrational degree of motivation to want to be the best, that you're almost willing to go through things that are just really, really painful on almost any level. And you sometimes look back and you're like, how the hell did I do that? Like
insane.
And it stays with you, right? These are like, and there's, by the way, there's so many degrees of what this means. You know, there are people who who go to the army and do even more crazy things. They've gone through more crazy experiences. And like for them, these are like really defining moments. I think everyone has kind of their defining moment. But it is, honestly, if you zoom out to the conversation we're having earlier around why the ecosystem is so strong, because company building, if there was like one word to describe company building, that like one trait, it would be resilience.
Yeah.
And there is no nation more resilient than like the Israeli people. And I actually, I mean, we've kind of done a 360 on this conversation, but one of the reasons I'm so excited about the ecosystem is because the young generation here are like the opposite of everywhere else. They're not sitting on TikTok like brain rotting themselves to death. They're like building and like innovating, and they just understand the pains of our reality that we live in. And so
I'll go even deeper, and I'll say that eventually, and this is Primo Levi saying, you find the most meaningful things in suffering, in pain, and he's a Holocaust survivor, and you look back at these people, Holocaust survivors, and they've built this country.
Literally,
they went through the worst things, and we're going through hard times as well. You know, October 7th, just our lives here. You know, the actual reality is tough, but people here choose to build. They choose to overcome, and I think that what really makes this place very special.
100%, I agree with that.